Good morning and good morning and good morning, dear lovely ones. Thank you for allowing us into your space, whatever and wherever that space is. We are grateful to always share this morning with you every Saturday, and it gives us much pleasure. It's one of the reasons why we come here. Farm Life is your regular family enrichment program meant to make us have thriving relationships, families, and to be a better version of ourselves. As always, our topics are reflective, are instructive, and are deep. And we look at things that have to do with couples, families, and relationships. And so, I'm sure if I ask you to guess once again, you may not be able to. Today we are looking at dealing with the unexpected and grieving. We are looking at dealing with the unexpected and grieving. Somebody may ask, what is grieving? And can we live through this world, this mundane world, and then not feel that there is a threat of some unexpected occurrence taking place? Different definitions can be given about grief, and that includes intense sorrow, especially caused by someone's death. It can also signify trouble or annoyance, or can be a natural emotional response to any significant loss. That's the thing again, any significant loss. And this loss could include death of a loved one or a colleague, and also losses like an end of a relationship, a job loss, the diagnosis of a terminal nature, and many other things that signify loss to us in whatever form it may be. And this comes on first, sometimes to the unexpected. So we are starting with how can we deal with the unexpected, and then also how can we grieve, having looked at it. And I'm going to start first with this wonderful lady who were privileged to have a daughter not too long ago. So I'm sure you can guess who I'm talking about. So her name is Mrs. Dora Okwe-Norte, a lawyer, counselor, church mama, and many other wonderful things. Mama Dora, good morning.
Good morning.
And how are you?
Good morning to our listeners. I'm fine.
Yes. Okay, great. So I always start from the beginning. Should we, let me start from the beginning, not jump myself. What are unexpected events, and do they happen to us as human beings, or some people are completely exempt from that?
Good morning to our listeners once again, and I hope we all be blessed by the time we are done with this conversation. Grief is real, and pain is real.
Okay.
And the unexpected is inevitable. It's inevitable.
Okay.
You can't avoid it.
Okay.
For the main reason that we live in a fallen world, and there is an ongoing banter. It's a battle. Life is a battle.
Okay.
Life is a battle, between good and bad. Good and evil, light and darkness. There is an ongoing battle.
Okay.
Once there's battle or there is war, there are bound to be casualties.
Okay.
So it is these casualties that we experience that brings about the loss and the sorrow and the unexpected and the death. These manifest in many, many ways.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So nobody is exempt. Nobody is exempt. To the extent that you are not alone, have family, have relationships, have friends, belong to a group, or live in a society, nobody is exempt. For example, I mean, what our nation has gone through in the recent, whilst some might not be very close relationship, but it affects everybody.
Yes.
If you sit there and think about the fact that not one, not two, not three, but up to 8 people could just go away, and there's silence. We can't hear from them. We don't know where to meet them. And we don't know what they went through to suffer. It's very painful. It's very painful. And sometimes when I sit down and I think about it, my head cannot think. Because this is a very painful moment that affects everybody. So none of us is exempt. We can't run away from it. And I'm sure for us here in the studio this morning, if we asked any one of us, we can explain to you some loss or pain or grief that each of us has gone through in the course of life. Each of us has gone through in the course of life. That has not been easy for us. Okay, I remember in 2012, I woke up in an early morning, just like this, only to be told that in an accident that had occurred on the road, which claimed 21 lives, my own big sister was part of it.
Wow.
And later in the evening, when the TV was announcing and the scenes were being shown, I mean, you could just see her being pulled out and placed by the roadside, waiting for an ambulance to pick them. I mean, so grief comes to everybody. Nobody can run away from it. Nobody can run, and it can be very painful. You see, but whilst grief and pain and the unexpected are inevitable, but they are not forever. These don't last forever. They come for a period or for a moment, and they go away. So even in spite of our grief and our pain and our losses and all of that, there can still be restoration, there can be joy, there can be peace. But that's a process that each person has to go through to be able to come to that point. So that's
would you say then that we should we live expecting the unexpected, or expecting that we'll go through some deep level of grief, or we should live as best we can and maybe build shock absorbers? What will you say?
Well, of course, I won't get up any morning and hope that evil will come to me or come to my friend or to anybody. So whilst we might probably not live expecting that, grief will come to us at any point in time, but at the same time when it comes, depending on the level of pain or depending on how much you are affected by it, but the advice would be that we don't live in that situation forever. We would need to find a way out of it, and how each person tackles it is unique to every individual. It's unique to every individual, especially for those that are unexpected. Sometimes you haven't had time to prepare for the grief. So it comes unexpectedly. If you saw a family member or a friend or somebody terminally ill, then you know that, the person is here for now, but the end of it might be death or might be a loss or might be something. You see, that one sometimes
so that is more gradual.
But where it is sudden, like we just experienced, nobody saw it coming, unannounced,
unplanned, unexpected,
and all of a sudden you are told that this helicopter has dropped, or this person is gone, and you didn't see it coming. That can be very rude and painful, and sometimes can lead persons into some crisis, both emotional, physical, mental, and all of that. As I sit here now and I think about the families of our fallen heroes, I'm just wondering on this Saturday morning what probably may be going on through their minds. How are they feeling? How are their children faring? How are their parents, if any, how are they faring? What's happening in their home? How are they getting along? What's happening? So these are things that might not be easy for anybody who goes through any such situation. Those kind of traumas produce different kinds of feelings.
Okay.
They produce different kinds. Some get angry, some get bitter. I was reading an article I think in the heat of this event, about a gentleman who was chatting with his friend. He said in the university, he was telling the guy that, look, I no longer believe in God. He said we're having a conversation and it had to do with going to church or believing in God. He said no, he didn't think that any God existed anywhere. So he asked him why. He said he was a young boy or something. The mother fell sick. He prayed hard, hoping that the mother will recover, but she didn't recover. And his lot, as he was speaking to his friend at that time, or the struggles he was going through at that time, he said if his mother were alive, he wouldn't have been going through that, and could never come to terms with the fact that, I mean, a good God will let any such bad thing happen to him like that, and let him suffer, in life like that. You see the point? So it creates so many things in people's lives, and sometimes, there can be some factors that affect us when we go through this grief and traumas and difficulties and struggles and annoying situations as a result of whatever situation. It probably might not only be the loss of a life, the loss of a loved one, or loss of life or job. Sometimes could just even be a betrayal, by somebody.
Significant betrayal.
Yeah, significant betrayal.
So that's a loss of trust.
Yes, a loss of trust. I heard a story about some two friends who I think belonged to some organization, and the organization was into some kind of business, and I think one of them had began some work that was similar to what the organization was doing. I probably was using some benefits from her organization in her own little private business that she was doing. And her friend told her bosses that, look, what we are doing here, our friend is doing the same thing, and it led to her losing the job, and that broke them apart. You see, so such a person can be in an annoyed state forever and never want to trust any friend for whatever reason, no matter what you do, because of this experience that the person has gone through. So this can be caused by many different kinds of things, but there could be some factors that can either lessen the pain or let the grieving be serious. For example, if you lost a young child, as compared to an older parent, the pain.
So the dynamics also matters.
The pain can be different.
Yes, okay.
You see the point. The pain can be different, or if, or maybe the kind of death. The kind of death, if probably you had a friend or a family member stabbed. That sounds more gruesome than probably seeing a family member die slowly, not well, and for that matter, die slowly, or sometimes also depending on how close the relationship is. I remember on Friday when the burial was going on, I happened to be in the market. There was nothing in the market that shows that any funeral service was going on at Independence Square. Nothing. People were going about their lives, shopping, and all of that. You wouldn't even see people with probably even TVs in their shops or something showing the ongoing funeral. I mean, life was just going on. You see, it's because probably those there were not too close to those who had suffered. Those who had suffered and mattered were there to grieve and to mourn. But far and wide persons probably didn't even care about what was going on. So and sometimes also the level of the involvement in the situation of the loss. If you saw the person going through the pain or the loss, then it can make the grieving a bit more deep and difficult and complex for you as an individual. Or maybe if you've had multiples of them. A friend was sharing about his colleague on the job who I think had lost a mother, had lost a sister, had lost a brother.
Wow.
Like in the space of a year or 2 years.
Wow.
That can multiple grieving can be very overwhelming for any individual.
So if I'm hearing you right, you're saying the nature of the occurrence, the nature of the loss can affect the type and depth of the grieving.
Exactly.
The way it occurs.
That's right.
In terms of whether it was gradual or it was sudden. Or it was unexpected. And then you also have said that the relationship. So the further away it is, the lesser the effect. So like you said, though we're mourning our fallen heroes, and we were all touched by this sudden catastrophe. Some people were going about their business because for them it has not rubbed on them, perhaps for whatever reason what they do. So it means that in your grieving you should not necessarily expect that everybody may have the same level of compassion or empathy towards you. Is that a fair point to make?
That could be, in this situation that, sometimes when we're talking about these things, you need to be very sensitive because of people who have been affected.
Okay.
But I'm just an aside. Just yesterday, we're discussing about this same incident, and somebody was showing me clips of some persons who, we're chatting when a person made a comment like, isn't everybody who is really concerned about what has befallen us? So I was asking, why would anybody say that? And these are political people, and made a comment that because of some other comments that some other persons in some of the parties have made, comments that have made, so it's like we are getting even at you. You have said this about us, and we didn't agree with you, and now look at what has happened. You see, so isn't everybody who might be on your side when you are grieving? You see, but at the end of the day, it is your responsibility. It's the individual's responsibility. It's an issue that is before you, and it is you and your emotions that can be under your control, and not what the other person thinks. Even though when you get to know that what the other person thinks is not really supportive of your situation, can be a bit more painful. But that's all part of living. That's all part of the fallen world, and how you cannot get everybody siding with you. But life ought to still go on, because you can't live on the desires and whims and caprices of the other person. You have to be yourself and live the life that is before you.
I'm sure a big part of this conversation will be on how to deal with it, but now we are still looking at what the definition and the occurrences and what goes around it. So once again, would you say we should live in perpetual fear, as wondering that and being suspicious of every move, being extra careful? What must be our posture? Or we should be careful, yet we should live? And should we live as though it can happen anytime, or must we live in hope? What will you say to that? I don't know if my question is clear. It's quite a tricky one.
I would advise that we live in hope. Because if you live in fear, you will be stifled. Because life ought to go on. Targets ought to be achieved. Ambitions ought to be pursued. If you live in fear, you cannot think. You cannot progress. You cannot take the steps that you ought to take in life. So life has to go on. And in any case, whether events happen now or later, we are not living here perpetually. We're not living here very soon. It's a stage we are on, and very soon we'll check out. So whilst we have today, we ought to do the best we can. And that's why for me, lately, my emphasis more is on what I do to help the other person. For me now, that I see life in terms of that. You see, because we are all not on the same level. Some are in a better position to help others, and indeed, if you are able to help others, they are also able to help others, and that kind of life and tradition can go on. You see, so we don't have to live in fear. We don't have to live. We don't have to be afraid of death, if I may put it that way, or losses, if I may put it that way. But because you see, sometimes, in fact, even our losses and our grieving, it rather becomes a launching pad for greater things.
And does everybody does everybody get that understanding? Or it is something that one must consciously develop?
Not everybody gets that understanding. Not everybody gets that understanding. I mean, sometimes for people of faith, for some of the things that we read in the scriptures, we are encouraged.
Okay.
You know, because I'm looking at Ruth and Naomi and the loss of their husbands. It was a very grim situation.
Yeah.
You know, totally hopeless. But how would the person say that, look, hey, I'm going to follow this old lady and help her and give her all my best, you know, even to the point of dying, and see what came out of it. You see, so we should live, you know, pursuing the good and seeking to do the best we can under the circumstance. But if we get limited to our own situation and because of the loss we have, you know, I have people who maybe have lost parents years ago, but if we're talking about mother and father today, or Father's Day comes, or Mother's Day comes, they are sad, you know, even though they are probably old now, are settled, have their own families. But once they think of the loss of their parents, they are sad because of some memories, some good memories they had. You see the point? So we don't. Some losses and grieving situation, if we have a good posturing, have had good support from people, it can actually become the bedrock out of which some good comes out from. You know, our pastor was sharing with us in church, I think some few weeks ago, about a lady who was taking a walk somewhere, and I think was raped by some men, not only one man, I think 2 or 3 men.
That's terrible.
You know, and as a result of that, she had AIDS. Those were the beginning of AIDS.
Wow.
You know, and he happened to have attended a meeting with a couple. You know, I think when they were all introducing their spouses, he was introducing his wife. Then he broke down, and the story had to be told that this was it. I think she became paralyzed or something.
Wow.
Yes, but out of that situation, explored, you know, how to care for AIDS patients and all of that, and now has a ministry towards AIDS patients. You see, so she's offering support. So if you maybe got that kind of situation out of maybe promiscuity or maybe a wrong sexual partner or anything of the sort, you will be encouraged hearing somebody who suffered in this situation, because your situation will probably cannot be compared to hers. You know, if for no wrong done she finds herself in this situation, and probably should be a very bitter person, but she has a positive attitude and is using that one to help people deal with situations like that. So
in society, and people live listen to us across the nation, and even some on the globe, I mean through the internet, there are different kinds of people. There are atheists, there are traditional worshippers, there are other faiths, Muslims, Hindus, Baha'is, there are Christians. You mentioned that people of faith, instead we should not be afraid of death. What for you makes you get to that point? That's spirituality or faith or trust in the divine have anything to do with getting to that point, or can anybody anywhere have that kind of mindset? What do you think?
Sometimes experiences bring us to that point. I remember when I was much younger, anytime we talked about death, I'll cry for no reason. I could cry the whole day. And sometimes I used to wonder how it feels like. What does it feel like not to be here any longer? You know. But over time, I've learned, and I've seen situations, I've experienced situations, I've read about people's situations. You know, I've seen struggles in many lives and all of that. I've seen situations where maybe this year mommy died, the following year daddy died, left children, you know, all by themselves. I've seen various kinds of experiences and scenarios in people's lives, and I've come to the conclusion that nobody has control over life, events, situations, or the struggles that we go through. You know, so but whilst all of this is going on, there's also providence that's at work. You know, there's somebody up there who is arranging situations and circumstances and events of our lives to achieve his own purposes, which is beyond us and beyond anybody. You know, and when you come to that realization, then there's nothing to hold on to. You see, but in between, there are things we can do to make life more meaningful. There are things we can do to make life more meaningful.
Okay.
Which is one of the things that I said that, look, it's better we're touching lives all over the place.
Yes.
Then, if you are not there,
Yes.
somebody would have found meaning in life.
Okay.
Can also probably extend a hand of help to some other person.
Okay.
You see.
So is it the case often when it comes to organizational dynamics and institutional structure, a vacuum cannot be created? So even if somebody was exceptionally good and made meaningful contributions, they would be replaced for the continuity of the organization. Can you say same happens in the home or in the family setting? When a person is taken out, either through natural process of death, so we are looking at loss when it comes to death, but like I said, grieving happens not only in death, but in any kind of loss that is dear to the person or deep to the person, and that includes death, that includes loss of a job, loss of trust, like you said, betrayal, loss of health, and many other things, loss of a relationship, maybe a courtship goes bad or south, a marriage ends on the rocks, somebody loses their job, or some other things. So would you say that in the scheme of all these things, in the home setting, when there is a loss, unlike in, for instance, these are 8 fallen heroes, the president has had to appoint acting ministers to fill in their gap, and eventually he would appoint full-time ministers. In the case of the MPs who have passed, there can't be a vacuum, so there are going to be by-elections to replace them. How does this play out? So in the corporate or organizational world, we know that replacement will be possible. But how about in the family setting? When that person or persons are taken out, are they replaceable?
Sometimes not replaceable.
Okay.
But other times, people can step in and offer help.
Okay.
But your mother is your mother, and your father is your father, your brother is your brother, your sister is your sister. Unless somebody is really that intentional and decides that I'm going to give support to this person who has lost a parent, and do it in such a way that it probably can erase or take away the pain of the loss the individual is going through. You see, but if from the little loss or grieving that I have gone through, I see that where you have a support system, where you have somebody come in and step into the situation to help you walk through the process of the grieving, it makes life easier. It helps you to come out of that situation, much more quickly than you probably would have, otherwise had. So, getting people come alongside you can be great help.
Okay.
But when it has to do with relations, it might not be that easy to replace the person. You cannot replace that person.
So they are irreplaceable, but you can manage to go on without them, because that's the reality.
That is it.
Okay, awesome. Now let me also get to the only man in the studio right now. The only man in the studio besides me, because I'm not a woman. But I'm sitting across me. So I stand corrected, please. Papa Sil, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So the voice you are hearing is the voice of Sir Sylvester Segbaya, who is a public health practitioner, a pharmacist, a counselor, and wears many other awesome hats. In the scheme of all this, Mama Dora has set us off, and we've looked at many angles at the beginning stage of the occurrence. Our second part will be how to deal with it. And so Mama Dora has said that we should not live in fear, but we should live in hope. Do you agree with Mama Dora? And why? And is there anything that she said we should not be afraid of death? Is that an easy statement? And what will make one begin to have that mindset? Because some people, they say, are larger than life. they believe they are masters or mistresses of all the survey. And so, how can you live life to the full and yet not be afraid of death? I remember a movie I watched many years ago. It was called Death Becomes Her. They grew so old, took a potion, and so they became so old and yet they can't die. So, what are the dynamics that must play out within this combination of not being afraid of the inevitable or the unexpected, because you don't know what that is, and yet, particularly with the issue of death, not being fearful of it doesn't mean being reckless, though, and yet living a full life and thriving. How can one manage those dynamics? Are there any underpinnings? Is it faith based? Is it principle based? Is it ethics based? Is it empathy based? Is it kindness based? Is it whatever? I mean, what is it? Mama Dora has shared a lot. What do you also think?
All right. Thank you very much, Mickey, and good morning to everybody.
Please let me announce that. 1 second. You can reach us on via WhatsApp or Telegram on 0549 986 996. Again, 0549 986 996 via WhatsApp or Telegram. Share. Have you been grieving due to a loss of death of a loved one, or a loss of a job, or a meaningful contract, or a deep betrayal, or dealing with a lost or broken relationship, whether it's courtship or marriage, and how have you dealt with it, or what are you going through that you may want us to support you with? Please reach us via WhatsApp on Telegram on 0549 986 996 and we'll give it attention. Thank you. Yes, Papa Sil.
All right. Thanks once again, Mickey. So the topic of death is always a very deep and challenging one. We all haven't died before.
Yes, yes.
So you only experience death when it comes close to you in a certain way.
When you sleep and wake up, it's an example.
Well, I don't know whether that's a good example of dying. Because the period you are asleep, you don't know what happened. And I mean, the truth is that the day you die,
Yes.
even though the people around you may, depending on whatever happened that killed you, they have feel the pain and the grief and all of that. I think the transition for the person experiencing it is totally different.
Okay.
I mean, for those of us who are people of faith, you read about people like Stephen in the Bible, who was being stoned to death, and at the time he was being stoned, I mean, he literally had a transition, or should I call it a divine experience, where he did not complain about the pain of being stoned. He did not get angry or curse out or anything, but he literally had an experience that made him forgive the people that were stoning him, and he could literally see himself transitioning into the heavens. So the experience may be different for different people. I read somewhere one day where somebody talked about the time Steve Job, is the name Job or Job? Steve Jobs passed, and the fact that his last words were wow, 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 and so different people have different experiences. The question about whether we should be afraid of death. Death is inevitable.
Okay.
Every one of us will die. What we don't know is when we will die and how we will die.
Okay.
You cannot get bogged down with that whole mind, being terrified by something you do not know when it will happen and how it will happen. That will literally grind your life to a halt, and your life will become totally meaningless. Again, if you know that there is life after death,
Yeah.
you live with a certain mindset.
Okay.
There are people also who live with a mindset that there's no life after death. That also influences the way they live. But certainly for every human being, the thought of death is some kind of brings some kind of reawakening, and some gives them cause to pause and reflect. Everybody must at one point or the other stop and ask himself or herself, what happens when we die? And where do we go from here? Does it all end here when this physical body grinds to a halt, or there is something beyond it? And if you come to the realization that there's something beyond it, your focus should be actually a lot more on what is beyond it than the actual event of dying, because that one is inevitable, and you have no control over what will kill you or how you would transition into the next world. So that said, I would say that we don't need to live in fear of death. Otherwise, our lives will become very meaningless. Fear immobilizes you. Fear renders you a non-performer. Fear just makes your life very miserable and frustrated. So you need to be looking beyond that and make the most. And I love what Mama Dora said earlier on, the fact that she focuses a lot more on helping people. We must all do what we can to make life better for people and for ourselves whilst we live here on this earth. The support you provide to somebody, you never know how much of a difference it makes, whether the person is going through a moment of grief or a difficult time. I mean, we all go through different types of difficulties. So when we commit our lives to doing good and giving off the very best we can, at the point when you are transitioning out of this world, you can look back, if there's the opportunity to look back, and be thankful. But if all you did was to live for yourself, it becomes difficult to see whether you lived a meaningful life or not. And sometimes when you reflect and you see that you didn't impact anybody positively, it may not be a very pleasant end. So whilst we live, let's give off our very best to make life better for humanity, for the person next to you, the person that comes your way who you might only meet once, and just all that is around you. Now, maybe the last part was, living in hope. Yes, I said so, that it's important for us to live in hope. Live with a vision, live with a plan, live with an agenda to make a difference in this world. Live also with the hope that no matter what happens, you have given of your very best. And if you're a person of faith, live with a mindset that you want to glorify your Maker and please Him all the days of your life. If you have that as your motivation in life, death will not scare you. Death will not put fear in you. And when you hear the stories of the different circumstances under which people die, some of them are very painful, like you had previously discussed. Some are very confusing and frustrating. I recently heard about this man who, on the day of his son's birthday, this was outside the country, he got up. It was winter, so he shoveled off the snow from the driveway so that his son's friends could drive in and they could have a party together. When he was done shoveling off the snow, he collapsed. So his wife, who was a nurse, stepped out, tried to do CPR, that's cardiopulmonary resuscitation. They did everything to rescue him whilst they called the ambulance. By the time the ambulance arrived, he was gone. On the son's birthday. And the person who told me the story, knew this guy, and he was like, it was a very traumatizing experience for the whole family. And I was like, that son will never forget that birthday, and he would not know whether to keep celebrating his birthday or not. That's a very difficult situation, a way to lose your father. So some of the circumstances are extremely painful and difficult to understand, and you don't know even how to handle it. And that's why getting the support is extremely important, because your life can just grind to a halt as a result of what has happened. You are confused, you are traumatized, you cannot even bring yourself to accept that this whole thing has happened, and you're struggling with yourself. So is life worth living? Is life going to be any meaningful beyond this point? So all these thoughts run through the minds of people who experience unexpected bereavement, or unexpected death to a loved one.
Yes.
And so processing it can be challenging. It comes with a lot of emotions. It comes with a lot of pain, and mental, psychological, everything. And you need to know how to handle it, which I believe you're going to bring us to.
Yes. Okay.
Before two
Thank you
things
very
occurred
much.
to me,
Okay,
I want to say
okay.
them before I forget.
Okay,
You know,
yes.
you talked about some situations that can be very unexplainable, very difficult and grueling. The couple who had their only child and were celebrating the child's first birthday,
Okay.
and the father was going out to get a birthday cake for the child.
Okay.
And as he reversed the car, the
Yes.
child was at the back of the car,
Oh,
unknowing to
no.
them, and ran over the child. The child died.
Ooh.
You know, so there are as many difficult situations
Situation,
as
yeah.
there are human beings.
Okay.
Right.
And it's for, like we are all saying,
Yes.
you just cannot understand whether what we are seeing here locally or what we are hearing in the international news or whatever. We just cannot explain.
Yeah.
You see, but the other point too that I want to make is that is the issue of support. You see,
Right.
So I think we'll come to the support when we are doing the how to deal with it.
Okay.
So please hold on for me on that. But that's the big thing that we are going to focus on. So I want to now let me come to the next lady in the house. So the voice you're about to hear is the voice of Lady Justina Uwejiri, who is a counseling psychologist with the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission Hospital. Now you know Kubler-Ross, who is one of the authorities when it comes to grieving, did an extensive study and has offered us a framework, not necessarily a judgment call or forum that one cannot deviate from. And she speaks of the various stages from denial to anger to bargaining to depression and then finally to acceptance. How can people grieve appropriately? This framework, if you want, or what does a person go through when they are faced? Okay, let me start from there. What do people go through when they are faced with grief, hit by a loss, the unexpected kind, like we've been saying all along? There's a gradual kind where the person is not well, or you can see the deterioration, and it kind of, though you are hoping for the best, you are kind of prepared because it's a gentle slide. The gradient is not that steep. But when it's abrupt, unexpected, unintended, like this man going to buy a cake for the same person who he ends up killing, how is he going to come to terms with this traumatic experience? So how do persons approach grief? What are the cycles of grief?
Okay, thank you so much. So, before I go to how people should do it, it depends on the type of grief.
Okay.
So here, I'll look at anticipatory grief, then I'll look at disenfranchised grief,
Okay.
then complicated grief.
Okay.
So anticipatory grief, as the name goes, you have a loved one who is not well, yourself, you are not well, and sometimes if you are fortunate, the medics will prompt you that it's possible anything. That's how they won't tell you are dying, but they tell you it's possible anything. Get ready for anything. I have experienced that before. Within this period, get ready for anything. Then you start preparing yourself that, but it's even not easy dealing with anticipatory grief, because you don't know, I'm going to wake up and then it's happened, or on my way it will happen. In my case, it took months, almost a year.
Okay.
So you live in anticipation. Sometimes you are restricted, kind of, because you don't want it to happen at certain.
Your blind
So
side.
all those things makes it difficult.
Okay.
Then we have the disenfranchised, where we trivialize. Others around you will trivialize or stigmatize your grief as nothing. So when you look at the various sources of grief, in Ghana you don't hear that much, but a common one is when you are losing, or you have to give out a property. because of something. So that's selling your building, your house. I know in US, a young boy died by suicide because the father has given out their house, and it's a friend's father who bought it. Why should it change from my hands to that of my dad alone? The boy killed himself.
Okay.
But in our part, you don't often hear some of these things, and people might trivialize it. So it makes it difficult for you, the one losing the thing, to grieve. So all these things affect how the grieving is done.
Okay.
And then we have the complicated. I would say the foreign heroes issue could be one of the complicated one. This is the case where we're hoping that over time you find a new life, you adjust appropriately, but for some reason you are not able to move on. Then you are running around it, either because it's become a national something, we have a memorial, and you wish that public thing is not happening to take you back memories, and it's happening. You can't have much control. It makes grieving complicated. So the stages, yes, I accept and I use the stages, but it's not static like you said, and it's back and forth. So people can go through the stages to even the last point
and come back again. Exactly.
And also come
Start
to
from
the
the beginning
middle
and then go up.
go that way. It is okay, but the point is, it's also influenced by culture, socialization, belief systems. So talking about grieving and all that, then we have to look at all these things. You were talking about why are we scared of death? It's because we are not educated about it. Because I didn't know the day I was born. How even I was conceived. My mother cannot tell the exact day, the exact time I was conceived. That is the beginning of dying. So I can't tell, and I shouldn't look for it.
So from the womb to the tomb, you agree with that principle?
That's it. I mean, you came in, you will go. We have heard, seen people living, going, and that. Why can't it happen to us?
Do we have an entitled mindset?
Like I said, culture, socialization. I know a group of people who are socialized such that death is a prophet. And when you see them at funeral, they don't do black to funeral, anything. You wear anything to funeral, and it's just the moment. Once the person is moved to the cemetery, it is done. Life still moves on because the person is done. You know, we all come on earth for a reason, for a purpose, and the time and the period is in the hands of your maker. So because of sometimes selfishness too, I want Papa's life to live 100 and something. Do I think of the pain that
the
he goes
old age,
through, the old
the
age
aching
difficulties,
ages,
the dementias? I can't hear you. I remember my grandmother would not hear anything. You talk about something one now and say, what were you saying? It's something, and they have their issues, but because we are selfish, I want to have her, and I'm not thinking about what she is going through, and they creep at certain point, they creep for it. Why wouldn't I die? Why is death not coming for me? And you are wishing they don't die because you want to have them without thinking of the pain.
Count the nominal years they are living on earth,
exactly,
and forgetting their youthful years. You know, pardon me, during Jimmy Carter's former President Jimmy Carter's 100th, I watched a clip of his birthday celebration, and they brought him onto his lawn under a garden to cut his tree, and the guy was fully covered. You could see the guy was not into what we were doing. So it's just like you are saying, we take pride, the observers or the second and third parties take pride in the longevity of the person's life without giving the cause to what the person himself may do. I have a question I want to ask you.
Well, but if the person is long and is okay
healthy
and is healthy.
No, like this man, like this. I actually heard him when he was 98 years, and his faculties were all intact. You know, this man, he has one of the longest initials, JVC something cap. At 98 years, his faculties were still intact, and he said actually at that time he had a 100-year-old older sister who was working and could do everything. So the genes and all those things also matter. So somebody by 70 has kaput is not in a fit position, and the caregivers are struggling. And then we say you don't wish death for the person, but sometimes the person is better off going. Even they want it, and sometimes the caregivers are overexhausted, but nobody even cares about them. There are even times where the caregivers die and leave the sick person because the care is so intense, demanding their whole life and their whole watching. Yes, please carry on.
So
we'll
all
go for a
those
break soon,
factors
but yes.
influence how people grieve.
Okay.
But like I said, the stages is back and forth, and there's no standard.
Okay.
And some people will start and get to the middle, and then go back. Some people will start, end, and then come to the middle.
Okay.
Our role is to guide them.
Okay.
To do it right.
Okay.
Like in the Bible, it happened when Job's friend visited. They were there. They were not telling Job what to do.
Yes.
They just were there for him. As they allow him talk when he wants to, cry when he wants to. Sometimes it helps that way.
Okay.
In most cases, we want it in a certain way. You see, I sometimes say, as a believer,
Yes.
sometimes God in his own wisdom cuts certain things short for us. So I ask people, it doesn't apply to everybody. Like,
Yes.
it's your purpose, your goal.
Okay.
When you are done,
Yes.
it doesn't matter your time.
Okay.
God will call you because he wouldn't want you to be contaminated.
Okay.
He wouldn't want you to be drifted off.
Okay.
Sometimes people die at a younger age and we are complaining. And we have justifiable reasons. For me, I have come to believe that if God does not allow it, it will not happen. That is also education that we have to give to people, especially believers, that once you did not create yourself, you did not bring yourself on earth, you should allow the maker to take the course. It helps in understanding sources of grief.
Okay.
So they die in a flight. It's an issue.
Yeah.
They said she's gone long ago.
So you see.
So it's also
Yes.
a loss.
Yes.
And you can't say that the aircraft is more painful than that one, depending on who is experiencing it.
Yes, but doesn't how it happens, like Mama Dora said earlier, affect how you experience the grief?
It affects those around.
Those
No, I'm
The
talking about those
close-
around, because you see, like mama, even though it's also sudden, just sleeping and not waking up, you consider that peaceful.
Yeah, exactly.
But if a person dies in an air crash and their bodies are dismembered and the aircraft got bent and maybe they can't even retrieve them, the pain is far more excruciating. On the spectrum, the shock adds to the depth of the pain, and the way you feel the person encountered death all adds to the pain. Don't you think so?
It has, but it depends on the one experiencing. Because that child waking the mother
Yes.
who is not waking is also in shock.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they
Absolutely.
always sleep and wake up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So why is it that today, as usual,
Yes.
and she's not waking up?
Yes.
How?
Okay.
What is happening?
Okay.
So the persons involved also play a role, and their
Okay.
understanding of unexpected and their resilience level,
Yes.
their coping abilities and coping skills
Yes.
also play a role.
Okay.
So with the aircraft,
Yes.
you could have. I heard one of the mothers talking about the son, and I was so happy the way the woman approached the whole thing, and it's the person's
It's the person
exposure,
type, mindset.
personality, mindset, knowledge, values,
Template.
had led her understand. At a point, she
Respond
said,
away.
"I have lost only one. Mahama has lost 8," and she was right. And this is the person's that would you say that the mother.
She's not grieving, she's not
You
sad,
see,
she's not
it's
broken.
her level of resiliency that is making her. It's her level of personality. Oh, you see a lot of
Yes.
things.
And she had even made a comment that she needed to be strong to take care of her son's
Son's
wife,
wife.
which is
Okay,
her daughter-in-law.
that is
Because she
amazing.
anticipated
Yes.
something.
Okay, we have in fact one of the questions I want to ask. So start thinking about it. Is funeral for the living or for the dead? That is one. But don't answer yet. Please, you can keep your comments, queries, questions, contributions, and how you manage grief or you have managed grief. What have you experienced in time past? How has it affected you or how is it affecting you? Where we have to give you support, we will do so. Where we want to hear your own to share with the rest of the world so we all can learn. Because like we always say here, we are all work in progress. I think there are some things, when you are faith-based or spiritual people tend to say that don't say some things to your mouth, don't hope or wish for some things. But I think we all agree here that death is inevitable. You are not here forever. Once you are mortal, and you're not an immortal like the movies make us to believe. Some movies make us believe you leave this earth someday. So I think it's better you are prepared. It's not a posture of wanting to die, but it's a posture of being ready and not being afraid of death. And it's a mindset that we all need to develop. Some are unexpected. We want to live a long, fruitful life, and that expectation is not wrong. But we are saying that live well at every stage, be kind at every stage, be considerate at every stage, not just for you, your immediate family or your nuclear family or immediate family, but be kind to others, so that if you live the long, beautiful, full life we all hope to have, that's fine. If it should turn out to be something else, like Felix also was saying in his song, then you have no regrets. And I want to ask my question before we went on a break. Then I will look at how to deal with grief. And we said it's not just death, but death is one of them, and there's the various losses. Is funeral, so this one I'm making it open to all the three of them. Is funeral for the living or for the dead? Who will go first?
I think it should be in honor of the dead, but of late,
Yes.
it seems it's rather in honor of the organizers.
Why so?
Due to how it is being organized. Some people are very responsible, reserved, respectable, and all that. They die, and people are fighting at their funerals.
Okay.
And some people, when they are alive for 1 minute, they wouldn't tolerate that.
Okay.
And that thing will not even happen once they are around.
Okay.
But it's happening just because something that is supposed to be in their honor, because somebody wanted to be in that person's honor, that is what is bringing a fight. So you see division among siblings,
Yes.
just because I want to show that I love him more by doing certain things in extreme, and the others want it in a certain way, and it means that what you want to show, then I'm the elders, I'm this, I'm that comes in.
Okay.
But if it is in honor, then we ask, how would the person who is being laid to rest
Yes.
had done it?
Okay. All
You
right.
see,
Okay. Babasil, what do you say?
Well, I think Mama Justina has beautifully summarized it.
Okay.
And we must organize funerals to honor the memory of the dead,
Okay.
celebrate them, be thankful for their lives, the good things they did, how they changed the world, how they contributed to making life better for others, whatever good things they do. Funerals are supposed to just be thankful for them. All the other things we do are the how do I call them?
The external thing.
Yes, and
Extravagant.
they sometimes
Are they for us? Are those things for the living, or they're also supposed
most
to be
of
for
the
the dead?
time they are for our selfish interests. We want to show, we have these very unfortunately bad cultural practice where we keep saying where's your papa ye pa and all of that. And most of the time those comments come not when very great things are said about the dead per se, but when there's a big party and when there's a lot
Extravagance
of
and opulence.
extravagance,
And
a
opulence.
lot of showcasing of wealth and money and all of that. That shouldn't be the focus. The focus should be to celebrate the life of the person, to be thankful for the person for his contribution to this world and what difference he or she made.
In your opinion, do you think that there needs to be a culture shift? And does it appear that Ghanaians value the dead more than the living?
We have almost become the world record holder for extravagant funerals. One of the things Ghana is known for is funerals. BBC has shown documentaries on the kinds of funerals we organize. CNN has done the same. I don't think it's a very good thing to be proud of, because a lot of times we go to the extreme. We need to shift, and the shifts must begin from now. I was sharing the story of a very wealthy man I know who, before he passed, had written in his will that he wanted a very simple funeral, and his funeral was just this: hold the service, the memorial service, When it's done, give everybody a bottle of water to drink, and then everybody goes home.
Okay.
No donations, no partying, no food, nothing, no sitting after the service. And that's exactly what was done. I mean, and he was a very wealthy man. He could have afforded to organize a funeral
One week
party.
party.
Yeah, exactly. But I think he wanted to change the narrative. And I think we must all begin to think along those lines, where we don't waste resources, because sometimes a lot of money is spent organizing the funeral, and the people who have survived the dead
Yes.
cannot even find food to eat the next day, but they're busy mobilizing resources to organize a big party, feed people, serve buffet lunch, buffet dinner. The next day there are people there. Sometimes for the whole 1 month or 2 months before the funeral, there's a contingent from the village staying in the house, and there are 12 people every day are cooking breakfast, lunch, and supper to feed them. And if you cannot do it, the family people get angry with you because they say you are mean.
Okay.
But those are not realistic, and you can't survive that. So we need to shift and begin to do things prudently and put our resources to more productive use. Take care of, set a foundation in honor of the dead. You know, so all those resources you are putting into one big eating event,
Yes.
commit it to a foundation that will support needy children, that will support even his surviving children or grandchildren, or whatever it is, so that at the end of the day, it makes life more meaningful for the generation that's coming up. That's one of the things that I think we need
That's
to
going to
change.
be, that's going to be a very massive. I don't know how.
Massive change, yeah.
Well,
but
change
just
always
how
starts
that's gonna
from,
happen.
you
From-
start from somewhere.
from-
One person must do it, the
You
next
know-
person must
No,
and
this
the next
example
person
of
must
people
do
writing
it.
down what should be done.
Oh, yes.
A number of people have done it.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
isn't
And sometimes
that,
the
isn't that
families-
often?
Sometimes it becomes even a fight within the family. In fact, I know in one situation where the person wanted to be done simply, and the family actually
Insisted that-
and then the only mistake was the person didn't write it down.
Uh-huh.
So the family actually went to court to get an injunction on the day of the funeral
my
to stop the
goodness.
funeral.
Yeah.
And then, so you see,
Usually when the person's-
Ghanaians
yeah.
often and I think we must start changing that mindset. I know a head of one of these denominations, a whole Professor Emeritus, who when he died said even no printing of tribute.
Yeah.
Just really briefly.
Again,
he didn't want to. He said after the funeral, because his denomination is a big one, and so after he finished heading his denomination, went to head West Africa denomination of that thing.
Right.
So they said no, because dignitaries are coming, they had to beg the wife that you allow us to print funeral brochures. He said no funeral. His younger brother, who was a vice chancellor here in Ghana, when he died, he did a similar thing for him, because he was the older brother, so head of family, so he did the same thing. Basic. So it's not so much whether they've achieved or not. But you see, when people who have achieved and they do it, people do call them stingy. They can simply in quote get away with it because they say, okay, he doesn't want it. But if the person is not in quote an achiever, then they say, oh, you're hinting or yeah.
Yeah, but Pamiki, but
But
that's
that is
like
where we have to change it.
like 1 in 1,000. You see, and that's because people have their own resources and they choose to do what they
Yeah,
want to do.
yes.
Besides, when you die,
Yes.
it becomes family issue.
Yes.
Your body
You see, your body
belongs to the
belongs to the
family.
family.
You see, so if we
But
want
when
to,
you're alive, you don't belong to your family.
So maybe the decisions should actually start at the family level. Families must begin to discuss and say, going forward, this is how we want to organize our family
But they
funerals.
will not.
you see, but
Well,
if it's
we
left,
need
if
to
it's
start
left
the
to
mind
individuals,
change,
it
you
will be-
know.
that change will be
But
very
they will
slow.
not. The family will
But
not.
if the individuals begin to push the agenda at the family level,
Yes.
at the community level, at the
Yes.
society level,
But when-
and if we ourselves
Yes.
begin to drive this, like we're having this conversation
Yes.
today,
Yes.
if for instance the media takes this conversation on and intensely discusses it for the next 1 year, we'll begin to see the shift.
Yes,
We've
it's true.
achieved a lot of results and change through consistent communication on some of these things, and that's
true.
how we must begin to drive them. Shift the mindset.
Yeah.
Let people know that this vanity must
Yes.
stop.
Is it our culture and our illiteracy? Because see, in one instance, for instance, a friend of mine whose dad died. The family was not involved in his life. He dies, and then the children want to do the funeral here. The family is somewhere from the end of the century region, deep. I hear from Kumasi to the place alone, it's over 3 hours. You get me? And the road is not good. You get me? And they insist. They come for the body,
to carry
pay
the village.
huge money to the heads alone is about 10K. Take it, and then insist that they're having a funeral in the village, and so the children and wife must come. You get me? So So I think it's illiteracy, culture, plus
that.
all the thing makes that, because
Yeah.
if the family head is if the family head is enlightened and is more modernized, then he can put his foot down and say, no, this is what we do. But when the family head is steeped in culture and tradition, and
I think it is more of tradition
than culture.
Yeah,
When
because
literacy,
yes.
they hide behind culture. And
Yes, and do it.
You know,
yes.
we've got to accept the fact that not every bad thing we do
in the culture
is our
wrong.
culture.
Yes.
Because a lot of
Some
the things we do that we claim is culture,
Yes.
excuse me to say,
Yes,
it's foolishness.
yes.
You know, and it doesn't even speak well of us.
Yes.
You know. I've seen people bury the dead and dead with a lot of valuable items, gold, jewelry, and all of that. And that was part of the reason why at the point we used to have grave looting, because people saw that there was wealth in the cemetery.
And why,
you know, when the living were walking around impoverished and there's gold buried in the cemetery,
yes.
they started looting.
Yes.
So there was a shift. Once the looters were doing that, then people noticed that why should we go and bury all the family wealth down there when one person can go overnight and rob?
Yes.
There was a change in mindset, and eventually the practice went away. So we must just begin to drive the change by sustaining the conversation at the household level, at the bigger family level, at the community level, at the church level, on air, whichever platform we get, we must begin to address it, because so that we don't waste resources. I mean, in the developed countries, people die, they will their property or their estates to foundations, or they set up foundations to help the needy. Some of us in Africa have benefited from so many of these,
and are still benefiting.
So we must also begin to do same, so that lives that are people that are left after the people have died benefit one way or the other, or their lives are made better.
Awesome. You heard, now we're going to go straight. You heard the story of the US, the guy who he and his wife had invested. In fact, he had invested seriously in some stock stuff, and then he passed. The wife is a professor in the university, and the interest and the benefits principal accumulated is more than $1 billion. And he willed it. They will it to an university to help needy African students come and study. Over $1 billion. The wife didn't take it because she doesn't need it. She's also much old. Yes, you get me. So we need a mind change. We need a serious thing. Now let's come to the drilling down. It's amazing how the time flies. So denial. Let's start from that process. Denial. Why do people live in denial? Because the thing has happened. Like you said, the girl, your mother goes to bed like she always does, and the next morning wake up and come and eat, and then she's not getting up. The shock, the unbelief, the sadness of the issue. What is denial? Is it a natural safeguard or coping mechanism to not to crash, not to get over-bewildered, and to do anything unbecoming of a human being? Why the denial? And is it a necessary part of the process of grieving?
Yes, it's a necessary part of the process. However, you see, all the things that we do when we are grieving are okay and are right.
Okay.
But we look at the period, the length of time, and then the situations or the issues surrounding them. So if it's okay to deny because you're human, and it's a natural psychological response to an intense, unexpected circumstance. Okay, it's a natural way. However, how long must a person stays there? It depends on, like I said, socialization,
the
belief
person
system,
type,
personality, exposure, education,
worldview, and all.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the perception of the person, like this fallen heroes, somebody's education is coming to a crash in the person's mind.
Yes.
So at this point, the person would stay at the denial stage because because of the fear of not getting that support one of them or the father has been given.
Okay.
However, the earlier you are done with the denial, you
Yeah.
move on,
Okay.
you are able to adjust, look for other ways possible, because no door closes
Okay.
for others not to open.
Okay.
Anytime a door closes,
Yes.
another opens.
Now let's look at this another one. Then there's anger. There's blame. So the person first denies. He says, "Oh, it's not true." It's like he said, "You are hoping you wake up and it's a dream. It's not reality."
Yeah.
So that's a denial. Now the next one is anger, and the anger you are blaming the person.
The anger starts from
Yes, blaming the person, the environment, yourself, God.
yourself. Then
If you believe
because
in
you are
deity,
going external,
yes.
then you're blaming people around
Yes.
whom you think could
Could
have
have
helped.
done something, yes.
Then if all these things doesn't make sense,
Yes.
then the Almighty.
Yes.
And like I said, they are all okay, natural emotional responses to some of these circumstances because of how we are socialized. It becomes so intense. But those who believe that unexpected is part of life will also grieve, but the intensity will not be as somebody whose worldview
Yes,
is
different.
different, as if death should happen to others but not me.
Okay.
That
But is it
also
wrong for the
from-
person to ask that? Why me? Are they wrong in asking that?
It depends on who is asking.
But is it wrong for them to ask?
Well, sometimes in the
No,
process they do
in the
ask.
Is it no?
You
What do
probably
you
will
think?
not
So
get
no,
an answer.
I want your personal perspective. Do you think it's wrong? Because some people say,
No,
why?
it's okay. It's okay in that
What do you think?
Every expression is allowed.
Okay, how about
Yeah.
it's allowed.
Papa, still, how about you?
It may or may not be.
So,
I mean, yes,
can you
usually-
ask or can you not ask?
You can
I
ask.
want a yes
You
or
can
no.
ask. You
But
can ask.
you
I
may
mean,
or may
nobody
not
can
also get an
stop you.
answer.
So the fact is that you can ask, but you may not get an answer.
Yes,
But
exactly.
don't you think that is helpful? Also helpful in the
healing process.
Yes. What if you say why me? Then later you come to the corner. Okay, if not me and somebody else, who wants
Who
it?
should suffer it for you not
so
to?
sometimes I hear people say that don't ask God why, but me I ask God
That's what
why.
I'm saying, that
Me,
it
when I
depends
don't
on
understand
who
something, I
is
say,
involved.
I ask
Even the
why.
level of
Yeah.
maturity.
Yes.
That's why I said the world view.
No. So you think I'm a mature
Because
person?
For me,
Yes.
I have come to a point.
Yes.
That question
Yes.
doesn't befit
You don't ask
me.
why.
No. But
No, you
what
don't ask
is in
even
it?
why,
No.
and you ask even why at this time.
No.
You won't.
No.
Never.
Never.
Well, it
Okay, that's
depends.
you.
I used to, but
Okay.
now
Okay.
I won't.
Okay.
But the question is, what is in this for me?
So that's the next stage. That's
That's
the
a
next.
maturer.
That's the next stage of the acceptance. That's the next stage of the acceptance. But at the anger stage or the bargaining stage,
Maybe I
you are
have no
asking. you are asking. So for someone who is experienced, because see, they say he who feels it knows it. When the rubber meets the road, it's different. When other people say, oh, like people say, oh, it's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay.
No, it's not.
So
okay,
why
that
do you
one
come?
there.
So like they often say, people do, normal people in trying to offer support will come and say, oh, it is well. It is not well. So one of the things you know, I mean, you're a psychologist, that never tell somebody who is grieving immediately that it is well. Sometimes you just keep quiet, allow them to grieve. So it's not wrong if they say why. You say, oh, so it's not wrong if they express the why.
No.
It's not wrong.
So that will help them to come to terms better as we are talking about the cycle and whatever it is. Yes. So now let's look at the last one. The last two combined, then I'll come to my two lovelies also. Depression and acceptance. Does everybody go to depression, or also dependent on the person type?
Anxiety and
Depression,
depression
yes.
moves together.
Yes.
But it depends on the person.
Okay.
So what will make you depressed might
Yes.
not make me.
Yes.
And then sometimes you only exaggerate. When we exaggerate, then we use the word depression.
Okay.
Because depression is more serious than just being sad.
Yes.
And
That's very
usually
true.
people don't go there.
Yes,
But
people
you
don't
look
get
at
it.
the fact that they are sad.
Sad and say they are
we think
depressed.
They are depressed.
Yes.
Yes.
So this
for-
intense sadness, but not
yes,
depression.
Yes. So depression is diagnosed.
Yes. Okay.
But intense sadness, which is
Okay.
okay.
Yes.
And even if it doesn't happen,
Yes.
in itself is an issue.
Okay.
If it doesn't, the person
Yes.
don't show it.
That means that they are storing it
They
up.
are storing it, which is also not good.
Okay.
And when they are over, talk about socialization.
Yes.
That's how they've come to learn the environment.
Okay.
So for us, when we are bereaved, we have to scream. So you see that some tribes will be.
They'll be high wailers. They'll be high wailers to come and whip.
And for them, that is how they show that they love the one who is gone, and they love what has been lost and all that. So it's all pave the way,
Mm-mm.
but just that you have to help so that it is done appropriately.
Okay.
Talking about being done appropriately,
Yes.
the person's life is not at stake.
Okay.
Another person's life is not at stake.
Okay.
Yet they are grieving.
Okay.
But when the person is throwing themselves
So,
here and there, the person is not
hitting their head.
the person is not sleeping. This becomes a concern. That's why
Okay.
others should be there.
Okay.
So the person is crying, oh, drink a little water for me, and then you encourage the person to take water.
Okay.
And then some people lose appetite.
Okay.
Yes, it's okay, but you still can help them take certain healthy liquids
Okay.
that would sustain them.
Okay.
Because you can't pay a price of losing someone with
Yes.
another life.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah.
How about acceptance? Is acceptance the coming to terms to the point that you say the thing hasn't happened, or that the thing has happened, but I must learn to move on?
Yeah,
What
is-
does
the thing
acceptance
has-
mean?
The thing has happened, but I must learn to move on.
Okay.
Because no matter what I do,
Yes.
it
You
has
can
happened.
reverse
Okay.
it.
But some people never
Move
get
on.
there.
Why so? Before I come to Papa Sil, why do you never? Is it a person type? Is it all the things you mentioned?
All the traits I've mentioned
Yes.
comes to play.
So such a person will need external professional help
Professional
because they are stuck.
They are stuck.
So they need help to get unstuck.
Some people
Yes.
even stop working, stop living.
Okay,
In fact,
the
they
moment-
stop. When I lost my mother, that was the day I submitted my final thesis.
Okay. Wow.
What's helped me was my supervisor got to know. In fact, he called me. I couldn't speak.
Okay.
With 24 hours, I've been on the move,
Okay.
and I couldn't open up. So after mortuary, I got home and I was alone. So I was just calling to tell him that they should change my date for Viva.
Okay.
I just called hello, I broke down.
Wow.
That's all I could remember. So I think he noticed there was something. So I have to text a friend to tell him.
Okay.
So he went cancel and I lost interest.
Wow.
I lost interest in the education. I can't
You the psychologist,
Oh,
the student
human.
psychologist.
Yes.
Yeah, human.
I'm not challenging. I'm just trying to bring the
I
reality
had
out.
some few days to stay at home, but I couldn't because the more I stay alone, the more I feel
The
that.
grief,
And the
the-
questions was, where's the woman? This is the first question that broke me down. Where's the woman you took out? Why are you back without her?
Alone. Yeah.
So
Okay.
that was there's a sofa. She's always in that sofa. After that, that question hits.
The sofa is empty.
So I have to go to work. My boss was like, "You are supposed to say I can't. I can't stay at home."
Yeah.
So you have to be open
So
about.
so then
So
it
sometimes
so
people
then brings
remove
an element that
precedents.
the grieving, the healing process, the process varies from person to person.
Person to person.
Somebody may need
Yes.
seclusion. Somebody
Somebody-
may need activity.
Yes.
Exactly.
So you must know what works for
works
it.
for you.
Not insist that,
That stay home.
stay home.
Yes.
When they stay home, that will make them sulk
Yes.
and remain the person.
Especially when it's usually it affects women.
Okay.
In this case,
Okay.
you lose a partner,
Yes.
and a woman must stay
By you, home with
not
you.
doing-
Yes.
You don't know how that staying home for that period may cost.
That's okay.
So if she wants to dress up and come to work,
Yes.
why
Allow
don't we
her.
encourage?
Yes. So that will help her.
That will help her
restore.
heal.
Awesome.
And it's individual difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And society must learn to respond appropriately.
Yes.
Okay.
Because if this person dresses up and comes to work, the people are likely to say, "Why are you here?"
She didn't love him.
Yeah.
You know our
So-
mentality. We draw conclusion.
Yeah,
He didn't
so-
love him. She's being flirting. That's how the man died. No, she's
At work.
it's not she.
You are wearing shoes.
You're wearing shoes.
Yeah.
You are wearing.
So I think we must drop all those ways of judging people and just respect their individual choices.
Nuances,
Yeah,
okay.
because as we have discussed here, there are different ways in which people grieve, and some of them, their response is to get busy. So if that will help the person recover,
Yes.
it's better to allow the person to go through the process that way than insist that stay at home, wear black clothes, don't eat this, and sometimes they actually lock them up, do all
Yes.
kinds of things to them. We must move away from those practices and just help people go through the grieving period meaningfully with all the support that they need,
Yes.
so that at the end of the day they can recover. I mean, even though Justina said that some people cannot recover fully, as much support as can be provided to help them recover to the best they can, let's try and get it for them, because it's not a place you want anyone to stay for long.
Awesome.
It's not a place any of us want to stay for long.
Awesome.
You know.
Amadi,
I
let
also
me
think that
let
if,
me come to you now. What are
yeah.
some of the steps in the grieving process? I mean, the healing. What are some of the things that people must do
Yeah, but I think one of the things that helps people to recover from grief is when you have good support.
Okay.
When you have good support, you see,
Okay.
we are made for each other.
Okay.
Yeah,
You know, I'm for you and you are for me.
that's right.
And sometimes stepping into people's lives and navigating them out of grief can be a very, especially when they come out successfully, can be a very beautiful process.
Okay.
You know, there are people who have losses and difficult situations here and there, and just do not know how to handle themselves. But if you are able to step in, you have the opportunity and you step in to work them out of it, it can be a very fulfilling experience to have. I mean, I have personally done for people, and people have done for me, and it was very helpful.
You use the word good support. What makes the difference between the kind of support? So it's not just support, but it's good or appropriate support.
Yes.
What differentiates the appropriateness or goodness or from just any kind? Some because sometimes the support I have more destructive or hurting than the person is there trying to, but maybe they are present and the way they are going about it, you rather wish they are not there. So what are some of the things that you define as good support?
I have a situation
and
where
I come to you, Papa, so then I come to you.
Some person lost
Destina,
a spouse, and the friends came around and they put a bottle of, I don't know whether it's cognac or something, by her chair, and kind of like anytime she felt like crying, they just pass it on to her to take a shot, just to numb her. You know, that would not be good support, because a person can come out of that situation a drunkard, you know, and then you destroy your life. So you'd have lost on both sides. You'd have lost a spouse, you'd have lost a good life, you know. But support in terms of making the person a better person, bouncing back to life and living a normal life, and even getting better, letting the person know that there is still hope whilst this loss or this grieving process is on, but that you can still come out to something beautiful with your life, you know. And so you want to help the person to take steps that will lead him or her into a better life. You know, that's what I would call a good support.
So would it also mean that you have to be sensitive? You the person offering the support, you have to be sensitive to the needs of the person.
Definitely.
Does it also mean that you may not always need to talk, but sometimes just be present?
Yeah, just your presence can be. You know, when Joe's friends came, they sat for 1 week, nobody was talking. Their very presence was soothing. You know, and usually when I recently a friend lost her husband, and we were in the family home, and they were demanding all kinds of things and putting her through all kinds of pain. And at that point, it was the first time I was having to be very close to somebody who had lost a house. I didn't know what to do. But so as I was praying in my mind, it just occurred to me that, look, there's something so I took my phone, I just get a scripture, just place it on my phone and just put it in front of her. And she just looks at it and she nods her head, closes her eyes. And I never said anything. That was all I did until the day ended. You know, so when it was time for her, at the point they wanted her to go to the place to see, to say parting words to the man, you know, and I asked her whether she said yes. I mean, she can go. She went and came bold, confident, came and sat down, and everything went on well.
Awesome.
You see, so
that's appropriate help.
Yes.
So sensitivity is key.
Yes.
In the kind of support, understanding the person. So what the person says, I can't eat. No, now the another one is self-care. So what if the person says, I can't eat, I can't, the person. If the person is an introverted kind, normally they want to be secluded. They want to grieve in silence. So how and what would be appropriate help?
So let me use the recent one. I have lost my mother before, my cousin. That's my mother's backbone. Also December, I mean, I woke up morning, I was called that she's gone. So my sister just said, Mommy, I need you. Where are you? That's you to where are you? I'm home. Okay. I didn't ask her what, but on my way I was contemplating what's good, because we hardly talk. But I just went there. But whilst I was entering, I noticed it's like a bereavement. Who could have been? In fact, my auntie never came into the picture. So I called there, I met the husband. So your mother is gone. So again, that's all that I said. So where's my sister? So I entered, and you know, some friends were there, and then all that I did was I opened up my arms. Then I had I didn't say anything. I just said, it's okay to cry. Bring it out more. Don't hold it. So I just supported her to cry because she needed it. So she cried to a point. Then she herself
Was now relieved.
herself from my arms. Then tea has been made. I said, zip a little. Let's go and sit down. So I picked the tea. I didn't even pick the bread. And then place it. Don't drink it. Just zip.
Sip it.
So these things help,
Okay.
especially those who have lost appetite.
Okay.
It's okay to lose appetite at that stage, because all the things that we grieve over
Yes.
comes unexpected, and all these unexpected brings us shock.
Okay.
But I talk about fluids.
Yes.
When they can't eat, we
Yes.
have healthy fluids,
Okay.
like juices,
Yes.
like all the healthy fluids.
Yes.
Don't force them to drink. Let them sip
Okay.
minute by minute,
Okay.
and they will be resuscitated or sustained.
Yes.
For then hydration is very key. When people are crying and even you offer water, it helps them cool down. So like I said, don't push them to drink. Let them sip. So water and other fluids should be made available.
Okay.
And again, we help the person to accept that it has happened. Something has happened.
Okay.
There's a pain.
Okay.
Accept the pain that yes, it's painful.
Yes.
Don't be a master
Pretend
of
that it's not real.
It's not real. Yes, it's painful. Yes, cry. It's once it's painful. If you want to cry, cry. If you want to talk. If you don't want to talk,
Will you say men too should cry?
for me, I applaud men who
because
cry,
what's
and
it?
I really
Because what's it? Men so
That
so
one
they
is
are
sickness.
so they are saying
it's sickness.
Let the men cry.
For me,
Men cry
I always
too.
Okay.
encourage
Yeah.
men.
Okay.
You are a man.
Yes.
Don't worry about what people will
People
say.
will say.
If you think you're
Yeah.
not comfortable, I can give you a place so that you cry.
Yeah.
I will leave you cry.
Okay.
And then I want to see you cry. Bring it
Okay.
out. Don't hold it. I
Okay.
mean, there's a way to help them. You see that they are sitting there, then bah, it's coming. I say,
Okay.
thank God.
All right.
So once
Baba,
they start hearing
yes.
from me, I'm very happy.
We have got a number of messages, but let me take what one more way of dealing with grief, recovering would you say, Papa Seal? Then I'll take some of the messages.
Okay, so Mama Dora talked about someone presenting a drink. I think one of the things we should guard against is unhealthy coping mechanisms.
Okay.
So there are people that would encourage you to do all the wrong things. Say, okay, come, let's step out, and they go get them drink a lot of alcohol, or even introduce them to some form of dangerous drugs. As much as possible, let's avoid it. Let's also avoid pushing people to do things like that. Using alcohol to numb the pain is just deferring the pain and probably worsening it, because it's going to bring other problems that over the long term becomes a challenge. So rather, let's provide healthy support. You know, as Justina said, take a sip of water, take some drink, get them some freshly blended juice, fruits, so that they natural fruit stuff. Let them eat. They may have lost appetite, but the people around should ensure that at least once a day they eat one healthy meal, so that they stay healthy. Because sometimes in the process of grieving, people maltreats the body to the extent that already grief itself breaks down the human immune system. So healthy eating helps rebuild it. If you don't eat at all and you go many days without eating, you just expose yourself to sickness or disease, and sometimes that's what happens. And within a short time they say, oh, Nancy and Papa wuye and on film. The grieving took the person to the other extreme. So the people around must always support in this ways. Make sure they eat healthy, they drink, they get the emotional support. Someone is saying an encouraging word to them. People are saying it's okay to cry. They are saying it is, I know people say it is not good to say it is well, but just whatever,
So
something positive that will
okay.
keep them encouraged, so that they don't get into despair. I think that's very important.
For people of faith, particularly the Christians, we say it is well with my soul. But now you realize that at that moment that you're saying it is well, depending on who the person is and their level of maturity, not all can take it. It's always story of a pastor when people story happens and they say it is well. Then something happens and the pastor is what they say, did you see how many Jesus?
The last thing I want to add before we move on is you have to find a better and a nicer way to say goodbye.
Okay.
to whatever you are losing.
Okay.
So you can develop rituals
Okay.
where you decide on the day of the incident, in remembrance of, you do something
Okay.
meaningful.
Right.
That should the person be alive, or should whatever you've lost is
Yes,
available,
yes.
you'll be proud of,
It-
or
it-
even birthdays.
Okay.
And
Is
all
it, is
those
it
things.
is that thing also not subjective? Why I'm saying that is that, you know, I was on stage. We're at camp when I got the news. I was actually moderating, and then my older sister kept calling. So I knew that no, the way she keeps calling my son. So
must be something.
I asked somebody to take over, and I step out to answer my call, and then say, "Mommy is gone." You get me? I'm a different person. Everybody in their personality. You get me? So I came back and said, "Champion, say my mom. I'm sorry, my mom is gone. I love my mom. But all of us love our mom. Both love our mom and our dad. But you see, for me, I celebrate the living. I work with the living. Once you are dead, no matter who you are gone. What is left is a memory. So I came back. I could carry on. Somebody else can't, and it's a personality thing.
Yeah.
So I came back, finished the session. Before I said, "Okay, please, for the rest I can't. I have to go off home." I could finish. You know, I've had an accident, and then from there I went for a meeting. That's me. I'm crazy. But everybody, somebody else, they can't. System shut down. How people, when they are anxious, they are going to have a meeting or something, they can't
They
eat.
would, yeah.
Me, I'll eat. So once again, somebody, that memorial is not necessary for them because they are a different person. So I think that's why I'm talking about the sensitivity and the uniqueness. Somebody holds on. Somebody who is a melancholy, for instance, has deep connections. So such a melancholy would want to have what you call a closure. A sanguine or phlegmatic are generally cool. So for them, that closure in that way is rather another issue.
Yeah.
So I think that if you're understanding who you are dealing, the personality type helps to deal with. Let me take some of the messages. Good morning, Farm Life. It's always a joy to listen to you. Thanks.
Thanks so much.
Please read for me.
Thanks so much for the good work always. For me, it wasn't an easy experience to go through. It was tough, and I felt the end was here. But I found hope in the Lord that gives peace, which surpasses all understanding. God bless you all for helping make our lives better. Kindly connect me to Mama Dora. Thanks, from Sweet Ajele of Afienya Mataiko. Thank you very much, Sweet Ajele. So the next person says, "Good morning from life. In fact, you guys are doing a great job. I'm grieving right now. Can I please get Mrs. Saki's number and Miss Justina's number?" So this is coming from Fina in Ashaleboche. The next one, "Good morning from life. Please, if one is visiting a grieving widow and her children, how should one go about comforting and encouraging her? What are some of the things one should say? Thank you." That's Zach. You didn't say where you were sending this from.
I still respond to Zachary quickly. Zachary, when you go, one of the things you can do is just say sorry for your loss. That is generic. Some can take the positive, it is well, but a lot cannot. Because at that moment they are grieving, they are hurt, they are in denial, they are in disbelief. But if you say sorry for your loss, that anybody and everybody can identify with. And then the next thing, sit down for some time, say nothing. Often we think that we must say something. It's not your saying. Your saying sometimes, often, even for those who like hearing, irritates,
Yeah, so it's
saddens.
good to be quiet.
So just say sorry for your loss. Sit down for a while. If you have something that you are bringing, maybe water or some fruits or something, just set it down. Don't make noise about what you brought. Even sometimes don't announce it. Just put it there, and then when you are done, you go. Because the moment you that thing you're bringing, even can irritate the person when you tell them that I brought you water.
Yeah.
So my husband and I, you're bringing water.
Okay.
So just put it down quietly. Just please carry on.
All right. Yeah. It says, "Good morning, City family. I don't know how to do this. I realize anytime I'm seriously hurt by people, I love to forgive them immediately. But showing it up to these people that I have forgiven them truly, I can't show it. It always takes time. I don't know what is wrong with me, but I want to change. Okay. Currently, I'm in pain, but I have forgiven the person, though, but I just can't show it. I'm Kiki from Koforidua, so Kiki is seeking help to know how to express.
To take notes.
yeah.
Yes, please go on.
Grief is just love with no place to go. That's a very interesting explanation.
Grief is what? It's
Just love with no place to go.
That's right.
It's really just love you want to give but cannot. All things in life are temporary. Be thankful in good times and stay hopeful in hard times, because nothing in life lasts forever.
That's
This is
right.
Godfrey from East Legon.
Good.
Thank you so much, Godfrey, for that. Good morning. Mama Dora has aptly said it all. Living a purposeful life in a way takes the fear of death out of you and replaces it with living in hope. Sudden death leaves one with no closure and acceptance for life. So many questions with no answers keep lingering in your mind every time, and that brings about the constant painful remembrance. This is Na from Pantang East. Then this listener says, I'm currently dealing with a difficult process of grieving my husband's death. Sorry. This period is especially challenging because the circumstances surrounding our separation and his passing. He had left me to pursue a relationship with his ex and other women, and when I expressed my hurt, he filed for divorce. I didn't want the marriage to end, but he moved forward with the legal proceedings. Tragically, he fell ill and died during this time. His family, influenced by his accusation that I was to blame for his sickness, barred me from participating in his funeral and left my name off the obituary. All these because we don't have kids together. You didn't send your name, but
she's sending a so
yeah,
please note so I can give you a extension.
Then this one says, "Good morning, Farm Life. I trust you're all doing well. My name is Ellie, listening from Takwa. Thank you for the great work you are doing. Can I please get the contact info of one of the counselors?" So Ellie wants a contact number.
You give Ellie the Papa sales number. So after Ellie will send it to you. But you can get Ellie.
The next one, "Good morning, Farm Life. It's always great to listen to you. Thanks for building up the nation. This is one of the greatest faith and courage I have had in recent years. For a mother to say, I have lost only one, but the president has lost 8, is unbelievably courageous."
Yeah.
Will from London. Yeah, thank you, Will. That's very true. "Good morning, dear Farm Life. Please, there's a saying in my language that when translated says, when we are grieving and mourning and burying the dead, we are also grieving and mourning for ourselves. This is because when we are having funerals for someone, we are also envisaging how it will be when we die. We learn from what happens and apply it to ourselves. So funerals are for both the dead and the living." This is Chantel from Amrahia.
Thank you, Chantal, for your response to my
This
question.
responding to that question.
Yes.
Yeah. And then this one says, "Good morning, team. For me, I believe as a Christian, we must embrace death and therefore put our house in order, as the Bible puts it. We must not be entitled. Life and death must be preached more. It's only on funeral grounds that verses from the book of Revelation are read. Let's see how our fellow Muslims deal with grieving and death.
Yeah.
I always encourage myself in the Lord that death is inevitable, and pray the way I leave this world should not be tragic, or should not be a tragic one." This is Kofi Bako from Nongwa.
Thank you, Kofi.
Yeah, thanks, Kofi. And the next person says that, "Please, my take on today's discussion about life and death is some trends are going on in the Ghanaian society. These days, people decorate the dead families or friends either by standing holding cutlasses, which may be that person was a farmer. Some to decorate them driving a boboya, which represents an aboboya driver. Others decorate them washing gold in muddy water, which represents a galamsea, when that person was alive, and many more. My question is this: what is all this? Is that right for people to do? for the dead. So what's the name of that? Please, let's see the name.
Please go up a little. He
Yeah.
has more.
Okay, he has more. He says, please, Farm Life, I want you to talk about this humiliating behavior against the dead. Thanks. My name is Teddy Amatefio from Sakina in Gan West area.
Okay.
So Teddy, thanks.
Wow, our time is gone. So please read the last one. I
Okay.
wonder whether then
So
you
we'll take
then you
the
respond in
last
30
one.
seconds. Then we'll close.
I totally agree with you that funerals are to honor the dead and must be simple. If attendance is great, I see it as a lesson for the living to be caring and loving. But why Thanksgiving service on Sunday? Thanking who that I'm dead. This is Justice from Community One Tema.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So
Justice.
please quickly respond to the one
So
that
the
needs to
lady
respond to.
who
Yes.
was
As fast.
denied from participating in the husband,
Yes.
she's going through disenfranchised grieving.
Okay.
So it will make grieving difficult.
Okay.
Meanwhile, he loved the partner.
Okay.
So she can contact me and then we continue from there.
Okay.
And then showing forgiveness guy also
Yes.
need help.
Okay.
It could be that he internalize and ruminate
Okay.
over whatever the others did. But it's also okay when we forgive. We have to forgive ourselves too
Okay.
for allowing ourselves to go through those difficulties. So it's also okay to go through that. But he need help to be able to let it go totally so that he can
Will
easily
he
move
need
on.
self-talk to tell himself that let me show that I forgive him? Because he says he forgives them internally, but he's not able to show it. So can self-talk help him when he tells himself that no, I'm forgiving him or her for what she did, so let me show it? Will that self-talk also help him or her to do
also
it?
help.
Okay, all right.
That also help.